Welcome back everyone. It might not have been pretty, but the Lakers were able to come out of Charlotte with a win. And with it, they have now gone 2 games above 500, and not to mention they finished their tough road trip with a 4-2 record. Believe it or not, they are only 1 game away from the 8th seed, and only 4.5 games away from the 5th seed. Now, they are obviously only a couple of games away from being the 11th seed as well, but they are finally trending in the right direction again. Getting back to their game tonight though, I think the main takeaway here is that they can turn it on when they want to, but also can get very lackadaisical out there at times too, which is why Charlotte was able to claw their way back in despite being down 20 at one point. And when you let a team get hope, they often tend to find their way back in the game, especially when they have good 3-point shooters. And all it took was a few open 3-point shots from Miles Bridges, along with rookie Brandon Miller to get it going. Between the two of them, they combined for 74 points on 10 made 3-point shots, 3 of which came during the 4th quarter alone for Miller. And side note, but I have been very impressed with Brandon Miller. From looking completely lost at times during the beginning of the year, to now dropping 30 in back-to-back games really tells you a lot. And at the end of the day, you need to realize that every NBA team has talent, even ones like Charlotte and Memphis that have been absolutely ravaged by injury, and that is why you need to take them seriously. And while it was nearly a learning moment for the Lakers, again, they were able to pull this one out. And if we're talking about points, then 70 of them came from D'Lo, LeBron, and Anthony Davis alone, which were led by D'Angelo Russell's team-high 28 points. And I really doubt they win this one without him. Whenever their offense started going through a drought, it seemed like D'Lo was there to pick them up, typically with a 3-point shot too. And to absolutely no surprise, he led their team with 5 of them, which was more than half of their team total. And then not to mention the 2 beautiful assists he had during the final few minutes, one of which went to LeBron and then the other one went to Anthony Davis. And speaking of Anthony Davis, the guy had a triple-double in only 3 quarters, under 30 minutes by the way too. I've talked about it on my Twitter during live games, but AD's passing ability has taken a massive leap forward this season. From finding the open man whenever he gets double teamed, to simply becoming a better playmaker, the guy has really taken a leap forward. And at this point, I think the only thing that he's not good at would have to be 3-point shooting. And if he ever gets that down, then look out, because that would mean AD would have literally 0 flaws left in his game, neither on offense nor defense either. For my final few thoughts in the game here though, another thing I noticed happened to be a lack of Max Christie. I really thought he would be more involved after how well he played during their last game, and while I would have completely understood it if he had not been playing well, that was simply not the case here. He went 2 for 3 from the field along with playing some really good defense out there too. Now, it's not like Taurean Prince got much playing time off the bench either, but I thought Christie deserved a few more minutes. Not a big complaint, but something I think should have gone differently. But again, we cannot be too mad about this win during the final game of a long road trip for them. And with all of that being said, I'll let you hear from the Lakers about their win tonight. And after listening, let me know your thoughts about this game in the comments down below.
Yeah, man, the last game on a road trip is always the toughest. We lost control of the game. They took control in the 4th quarter. The only way to get back in it is 3s and fouls, and we were doing both. Got your alarm. Brandon Miller, Bridges played out of his mind, shooting the ball, extremely well tonight. Brandon Miller as well, and our defensive intensity kind of slipped in that 4th quarter. It actually started at the end of the 3rd, the last couple minutes of the 3rd, when they went on a 6-0 run and cut it to 14. We lost that quarter by 2, so 28-26. So we got to do a better job of closing out games, but nonetheless, we're happy that we got the win. It was ugly, but we're happy that we got it.
Your game has been, pretty complete for a number of years now, but the growth in the passing seems to have really gone up this season. You tie your career high with 11 assists. Defenses are trapping a lot more. You're just moving the ball to the right spaces. How has that evolved for you this season?
Teams are doubling me a lot more. And I just got to do a better. I had to do a better job of just passing out a double team, making the right reads. So just being comfortable within that, making the right reads. I'm comfortable in every facet of the game, and just reading what the defense gives me. And I think our guys are doing a great job of making shots for me, obviously. But I think that's the biggest growth that I had, going into the season, just being able to play make.
That's one for you. It sounds like 3 to 4 weeks before we find out more about Jared Vanderbilt. In the meantime, Rui Hachimura has entered the starting lineup. You guys have won 3 in a row. What can you take out of this trip to try and get yourself in a stronger position as you approach the playoffs?
Not telling how long Vando's going to be out. Next man up mentality. We preached that all year. We're still missing Cam, Gabe. So It's nothing new to it. We've been dealing with this all year, but I think we're starting to find a way to play without some of the guys. Guys are stepping up in their absence. So, we're just doing a good job of playing complete team basketball, and it's a great road trip for us. Even though, we dropped some that we thought we should have won. But we're in the road trip 4-2. Now we got 2 big ones at home against Denver and New Orleans, and try to take this energy and this carryover from this road trip back home.
Are you a plane sleeper or no?
Not really.
Nah, me neither. That sucks. Sorry.
I'll be up.
Has evolved from that point through these 3 straight wins?
I think, just our approach has been, what's getting us through these games. We're getting off to solid starts, and our bench is piggybacking off the starts we get, and third quarters have been good. I think that gives us a good chance. Solid road trip, though. Solid.
Last 2 games, Rui's been in the starting lineup. Just what dynamic do you guys have as a group now, and where do you think you can build with that group as you head home?
We all know what Rui's capable of. So, in that starting lineup, we might need just continuing to do the little things and other things, and then what we know he's capable of will flow naturally. And he's been doing great, continuing to offensive rebound and get open shots in the pockets that are open throughout the flow of the game, and he's been playing well.
D'Lo, in these last 3 weeks, as trade rumors tend to intensify, you've played some of the best basketball of your season. How have you been able to do that, and then what will the next 48 hours be in terms of, do you get away from stuff even more so in the build of the deadline? How do you kind of handle it?
I don't care at all. Show up to work. That's it.
So long in the NBA, a team gets up big, other team makes a push. What does it take to just kind of snuff that out and get the win?
Just get timely stops and execute offensively, which we did, and made our free throws when they had to foul.
After Atlanta, obviously the 2 losses in a row, heading into 2 tough buildings, and then this game, just the end of a long trip. What do you feel like you saw over these 3 games that you can take back to California?
We just got to, these games are behind us, but it was a successful trip. For us to go 4-2 on this trip, and deal with some adversity early on in the trip, deal with some injuries early on in the trip, to be able to finish the trip like we did is a success. But you move on when you get home and move on to that next stage. You don't worry about what you did in the past.
We've seen plenty of groups with Rui next to you and AD, that front line, have success. What is it about him, and kind of how does that affect things at all with him in the starting lineup now?
Very big. We have a lot of length, a lot of athleticism. Rui works well with us, and we just try to find him, especially when he's running out, when he has early seals in the post or whatever the case may be, mismatches. So he works well with us.
Like you said, you guys went 4-2 on this trip. The next time you guys will play will be after the trade deadline. Do you feel like, as a team, you guys have proven or shown why you guys should continue to, invest in this current group that you have?
This is what we have, so there's nothing else to talk about.
Teams obviously play up, like, whenever the Lakers come to town, like Charlotte wants to play their best basketball. What does it bring out of you guys, like, as a unit, or you specifically?
I love to compete, so teams are always going to get up to play us. They want to compete versus us. They want to show what they're capable of, and usually their home fans, is very excited to, when we come into town, they're extra loud and supportive. So, it doesn't matter. We just love to compete, and we execute late in this game, even when they made a run, and it's always good to get a roll win.
One of the different games that AD had a big passing night. We were back in home, and you talked about, kind of joked about it, but we're serious. You've been talking about double teams. What specifically has he gotten so much better at, like those reads, and how clear is it to you?
Reads. It's just that simple. Teams are trying to take the ball out of his hands because he's so dynamic in the post and the low post, and they're trying to force him to pass. And it's all about growth mindset. He's a student of the game, and he watched the film, watched the clips, and not quite sure what you can do now. And we all have to be in the right position. We just try to be in the right position to have his back, to have the outlet passes when he is being doubled, and resulted tonight another triple-double. I think that's the second this season, correct?
Second, yeah. Do you remember when teams first started to blitz you, and I guess it probably happened pretty early, but when you got down to the post more as your career evolved, and like how long it took you to kind of, hone that skill?
To be honest, I've been having to throw out of double teams in the post since high school. So
Trade deadline.
I mean, you were a tough matchup in high school.
I was okay. I had a couple mismatches sometimes.
The trade deadline approaching. Do you like the makeup of this roster? Do you think this roster is good enough to win a championship, or does there need to be changes made?
It's not a question for me. I love who we have in the locker room, and that's all I worry about. Listen, I can't stand your ass. So like I don't get caught up in that. We're gonna go out and prepare ourselves. Every single night, no matter what it is, no matter who's out on the team, no matter what. So it's my job and it's AD's job as two captains to make sure we keep the main thing, and the main focus is now Thursday's game at home, and we look forward to that matchup.